Before Neville Goddard ever boarded the ship to Barbados, his reality looked nothing like the vision he carried within. In New York, he lived in poverty, depending on friends just to survive, unable to afford the journey home. Yet despite everything, he refused to accept this as his permanent truth. Deep down, Neville understood something most people never realize. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. Each night, when the city grew silent, he withdrew from the outer world and turned toward the inner one. He would close his eyes and step into a vivid, living reality within his imagination. One far more tangible than the dim apartment surrounding him. There, in that inner realm, he felt the warmth of the Caribbean air, the sound of waves breaking against the shore, and the joy of being home again. He wasn't pretending or escaping. He was creating. This nightly ritual became his training ground for what he later called the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It was the art of emotionally embodying the end result before it ever appeared. Neville didn't wait for proof. He became the proof. Each breath, each heartbeat in that inner world matched the frequency of the life he desired. Weak faith. Outwardly, nothing had changed. The same small room, the same uncertainty. But within, Neville's vibration had completely shifted. He no longer identified with lack. He lived from fulfillment. And then, as if drawn by an unseen force, a letter arrived from his brother enclosing a first-class ticket to Barbados. To most, that would seem miraculous. But to Neville, it was simply the law in motion. The outer reflection of an inner conviction already accepted as true. The ticket wasn't the real gift. His belief was he had proven through experience that imagination, when fused with emotion, becomes a magnetic current powerful enough to reorder physical reality. His trip home was more than a voyage across the ocean. It was a demonstration of vibrational precision. Neville hadn't changed his circumstances through force. He had tuned his frequency to the feeling of being home. And once that inner vibration stabilized, the universe had no choice but to mirror it. As the ship prepared to sail, nothing about the scene felt new to him. Every sound, every breeze, every detail had already been rehearsed in his imagination until it felt inevitable. What others called coincidence, ekadedlau. When Neville stepped aboard that vessel, it wasn't surprise he felt, it was recognition. He had walked this moment countless times in his mind. The laughter of passengers, the scent of salt in the air, the warmth of freedom, all had existed within him long before they appeared around him. And that was the essence of his discovery. Reality is not waiting for permission to change. It is waiting for vibrational alignment. He would later teach that imagination is not fantasy, but creative causation. Consciousness, he said, is the foundation of everything, and your outer world is simply its mirror. Feel it real, and life responds in kind. If you want to master this principle, begin as Neville did. Not by chasing results, but by living inwardly, as if your wish were already fulfilled. Because once your inner state matches your desired reality, the universe must obey the frequency you emit. When Neville stepped onto that ship bound for Barbados, he wasn't too surprised. He was simply stepping into a scene he had already lived 100 times before in his imagination. Every sensation felt familiar. The gentle roll of the sea, the laughter of the passengers, the salt in the air. He had felt this moment long before it arrived. What most called luck, he recognized as law. The natural unfolding of vibrational alignment. For Neville, imagination was not a tool for escaping life, but for directing it. He understood that consciousness is the only true substance of reality, and that everything seen or experienced externally originates first as an inner assumption. You must believe before you see, he often sighed, because seeing is nothing but the confirmation of belief. Because seeing is nothing but the confirmation of belief. During his days in Barbados, Neville observed something extraordinary. How wisely life began to flow once he stopped trying to control outcomes. Instead of forcing things to happen, he allowed them to unfold through the feeling of fulfillment. He no longer acted from desire. He acted as the one whose desire was already realized. The difference was subtle but transformative. He began to notice that the more he felt at peace, the more effortlessly life organized itself around that peace. He didn't chase. He aligned. He didn't beg. He assumed. He didn't hope. He knew that quiet confidence was the true signal, a steady vibration that reality could not ignore. This understanding became the first pillar of his philosophy. Assumption. Most people wait for external proof to justify belief. But Neville reversed the formula. He chose to believe first and let the world rearrange itself to confirm that belief. He lived from the end, not for it. He would later explain that when you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, your vibration becomes a command, not to a distant universe, but to the layer of reality already existing within you. The feeling becomes the creative force. The emotion becomes the evidence. He often challenged his students to stop asking how their desires would manifest, and instead ask, "What would I feel if it were already done?" Because in the energetic world, that feeling is the seed of creation. When planted and sustained, it grows inevitably into form. As Neville returned from Barbados, he realized that his success was not about a ticket or a ship. It was about vibration. He had proven that reality bends to the tone of one's inner conviction. And once he experienced that truth, he could never again see life the same way. He began teaching that imagination is the womb of creation, the unseen workshop where the physical world is designed. Every thought held with emotion sends out a signal, and every signal attracts its corresponding form. You don't wait for evidence. You generate it through vibrational coherence. So ask yourself now, are you imagining your wish fulfilled, or are you imagining the lack of it? Because both are acts of creation. The universe doesn't differentiate between what you want and what you fear. It only responds to vibration. If you truly desire to master this law, you must begin to feel from the result, not toward Italiano. The moment you align emotionally with the reality you seek, the outer world begins to reorganize itself to match that new signal. That is the foundation of Neville's legacy. That consciousness, not circumstance, defines destiny. When you live as though it is already done, the law of vibration moves everything necessary into place. Reality doesn't delay out of cruelty. It delays until your frequency matches your vision. Once the match is made, manifestation becomes inevitable. Neville's return to New York after Barbados marked a profound shift, not only in his understanding of life, but in his very vibration. He had proven through direct experience that imagination is the true cause of all creation. The invisible had solidified into the visible, exactly as he had felt it would. From that day forward, Neville dedicated his life to teaching a single truth. Every outcome begins as a state of consciousness. Your emotional state is a magnetic frequency that calls forth events, people, and circumstances to match it. It is an effort that moves the universe, its energy. He explained to his audiences that the same creative power that spins galaxies is the same energy pulsing through your imagination. You are not a passive observer of life, he said. You are the one giving it direction through vibration. Every desire, he taught, already exists in an energetic form. What brings it into the physical is your emotional harmony with that frequency. When you feel your desire as though it's already true, you align your entire being with it. That emotional resonance sends a clear signal, rearranging the field of possibilities around you. Thought designs the blueprint, but emotion gives it structure and form. Neville called this process the secret of assumption, the art of embodying the end until it feels real. But here's where most people stumble. They live in conflict. They speak words of faith while vibrating with doubt. They visualize abundance, but continue feeling lack. Neville taught that creation only happens when thought and feeling merge into one coherent vibration. That inner unity is what transforms imagination into reality. He would remind his students that when your inner dialogue, emotions, and assumptions all agree, reality must comply. The outer world cannot resist a signal that's strong. Life doesn't bend to force. It bends to coherence. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he said, and let it harden into fact. That single statement held the essence of his work. Imagination is not limited by circumstance. It is the mold from which circumstance emerges. Everything begins unseen. The state you occupy now determines the life that unfolds next. And if you wish to accelerate your own transformation, practice emotional alignment daily. Don't wait for evidence. Feel it now. Feel it now. Live as if your desire is already realized, because your vibration is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. After his return, Neville began applying this principle in every area of his life. He imagined opportunities flowing to him, doors opening effortlessly, and timing aligning with precision, and each time, reality followed with remarkable accuracy. He taught that imagination isn't fantasy, it's participation in divine creation. When you close your eyes and feel the reality of your desire, you are not escaping life, you are giving it new direction. Emotionally charged imagination is the creative language of the universe. That's why Neville insisted, you must feel it real. It's not enough to think about your goal, you must embody it internally until it feels as natural as breathing. When your subconscious accepts the new state as truth, the external world simply reflects that conviction. Most people give up too soon, mistaking delay for denial. But Neville compared manifestation to planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You trust the process. Once the emotional seed is planted, faith becomes the nourishment that brings it to life. To doubt, he said, is to dig up the seed. The moment you question how it will happen, you interrupt the vibration that was already in motion. Instead, hold steady. Continue feeling from the fulfilled state and watch as invisible forces begin to move. Because when you persist in belief, despite appearances, the unseen starts rearranging itself in your favor. Life becomes a mirror of your inner conviction. Neville's teaching reached its full brilliance when he began explaining what happens after the manifestation appears. To him, receiving what you imagined wasn't the end of the process. It was confirmation that consciousness truly governs reality. Every fulfilled desire was proof that the invisible responds faithfully to inner conviction. He used his own life as living evidence. From the trip to Barbados to the prosperity and recognition that followed, Neville demonstrated that alignment, not effort, was the true engine of creation. He would say, "You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are." And this statement became the cornerstone of his philosophy. When you change your vibration, you no longer chase results. They begin finding you. The more he lived by this principle, the more effortlessly life responded. Invitations appeared out of nowhere. Opportunities flowed naturally, and synchronicities guided his every move. Neville had entered the current of allowance, where energy works for you instead of against you. He taught that your only task is to maintain inner harmony with your fulfilled desire. The universe handles the rest. When your emotional frequency matches the state of having, unseen mechanisms rearrange everything to bring that vision into your experience. This is where many still hesitate, holding faith for a day or two, then surrendering to doubt when results seem distant. But Neville knew the delay was not denial. It was gestation. Creation, he said, is finished. Your desire already exists in the unseen. All that remains is for you to remain faithful to the feeling until it solidifies. And if you wish to experience this power for yourself, there's something you can do right now. Take a moment after this video to sit in silence. Picture your financial freedom as a living reality. Feel what it's like to have your debts gone, your opportunities flowing, and your energy calm and certain. Let the feeling of abundance fill you so completely that it becomes undeniable. That moment of emotional certainty is the turning point. The universe begins responding instantly. If you're ready to learn how to align that energy consistently and manifest faster, click the link in the description and get your Rapid Money Manifestation Guide. It's a practical companion built around Neville's exact principles, designed to help you shift your vibration and receive unexpected money quickly and in perfect flow. Now, remember, imagination is not fantasy. It's the creative command of your soul. Each assumption you hold is shaping tomorrow's reality. When you truly feel something is real within, it must appear without. The outer world has no choice but to echo the energy you've chosen to embody. So as you move forward, guard your vibration. Let gratitude replace fear, faith replace doubt, and joy replace impatience. Each time you feel lack or frustration, return to your inner movie, the one where you already have what you desire. Stay there until peace settles in. That peace is the evidence of alignment. If this message resonated with you, comment below your affirmation. I live in the frequency of abundance. Your words amplify your vibration, and every shared energy strengthens the field we're creating together. And before you go, make sure you subscribe and activate the notifications. More powerful videos are coming, each revealing deeper layers of Neville's wisdom and the universal laws behind wealth, manifestation, and consciousness. Because this story doesn't end here. In the next video, we'll explore the hidden principle Neville hinted at, but never fully explained, the vibrational bridge between imagination and divine timing. That's where the true magic unfolds. Until then, remember, you are not waiting for abundance. Abundance is waiting for you.